But these are cartoons. We have to remember that these are cartoons that we're watching right now. Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my favorite episodes from Love, Death, and Robots. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this. So if you don't know what Love, Death, and Robots is, allow me to explain. So this is a show on Netflix, and it's a collection of short stories that are all animated. And none of them are connected, they're just their own little, story. None of the episodes are connected. Well, maybe except for 2. But that's besides the point. All of these stories tackle different genres like horror, fantasy, sci-fi. Mostly horror and sci-fi, but they delve into other stuff too, and comedy. And of course, each story deals with love, death, or robots, or all 3 in the same story. My boyfriend was the one who put me on to this series. If you're watching this, hey. We watched it together a few weeks ago, and I instantly became so intrigued. I was like, why haven't I heard of this sooner? And it's been out for a minute. So I'm gonna go by volume, and I watched it backwards, I think, because on Netflix it'll show it going from volume 3 to 1 instead of 1 to 3. But I think that's how it was made to be watched, so I watched it backwards or something. But I'm going to go just like how Netflix listed it from volume 3 to 1, okay? And talk about my favorite episodes from those volumes. Okay. Starting from volume 3, we have 3 robots, exit strategy. So there are these 3 robots, right? And they're walking around on Earth after, it's a post-apocalyptic Earth, and everyone's dead and gone. And they're acting as if they're tourists. One of them is taking pictures on her phone. Oh, this is where humans used to eat. This is where they used to swim. Da, 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 da. And they're just so excited. And while this bit is funny, this story is funny, it delved into the commentary and inevitability of the destruction of the world. I know that sounds really dark. We just got dark really fast. But it wasn't a meteor or anything like that. It wasn't an ice age that brought about, the apocalypse. It was our fault. And they were well, they were just talking mad shit about the humans. And the way that they were talking about humans was just so comical. We were they were talking about humans as if we were dinosaurs or something. It was really funny. The next episode in volume 3 that I really like is called Bad Traveling. Oh, I forgot to mention this too, before I get into that. So each story, each episode, it's a different animation style every time. You have some of them that have the 3D animation. I don't know what it's called, but it basically looks like what a video game would look like, those type of graphics. And then you'd have this really cool comic book looking animation, and your eyes would be seeing something new each time. I had to bring that up, I forgot to, but yeah, each short story, each episode in this show, different animation style. Yeah. Alright, back to this episode. So the next episode in volume 3 that I really liked and was one of my favorites is called Bad Traveling. So it's this pirate crew, right? And they have this demon decapod trapped underneath their ship or something. If you don't know what a decapod is, it's a big crab. Okay? Huge crab, 10 legs, hence the deca. And this decapod eats humans. It's not a normal decapod, it's this giant, evil, sentient decapod, and it eats humans, okay? They captured it, and then this decapod starts talking to the captain of the crew through a dead body. He can't speak without a vessel, so he took one of the dead bodies that he ate earlier and starts talking through it feed me. I was ew. That is the most twisted ventriloquist act I have ever seen in my life. So the decapod was like, yeah, feed me. There's this island that I want to go to and I can feed there and I'll leave y'all alone, da 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 da. And this is where the captain is put in a position of like, you know, really deciphering his morality, because there's another island that he could take the decapod to trick him, but he probably end up losing his crew and also his own life. So he's put in the spot where he's like, okay, do I save thousands of lives and sacrifice me and my crew, or do I save myself and my crew and sacrifice the lives of many? And it was a really good perspective on morality and decision making. And y'all, this was like the goriest animated like anything that I've seen. Oh, side note as well. So this series is rated R. I don't know if there's a rating on it, but if it had a rating, it would be rated R, because the gore, and like the sexual crudeness that's in this series, it's like, wow. And me personally, usually I've never seen like animated material have all this gore and sexual business in it, because I'm like, okay, I can see like a live action like with actual people exploring gore or like showing gore's sexual aspects or whatever, but these are cartoons. We have to remember that these are cartoons that we're watching right now, adult cartoons, and the gore, oh my gosh, and the gore in this one, limbs were being torn off, heads were I'm not gonna spoil it, but oh my gosh, like this one had me, this was what got me really super into the show. I was like, if they're gonna come like this every time, oh, I'm sat. I'm in front of the TV, I'm paying attention. This next one, okay, this next one felt like I was watching Robot Chicken. This one is called Night of the Many Dead. This is like stop motion claymation. I don't know what you would call it. Whatever animation style Robot Chicken is, it's that. And that's why I felt like I was watching Robot Chicken. And mind you, this entire short story is like in the view, it's like wide. Like it's not, you don't get a close up on any of the characters or the people in it. Like it's wide shot. It's like you're looking down on like a art model or something and watching this whole thing happen, because it's shot from so far away. So by the name of this episode, you probably already guessed that this has something to do with zombies. So you're like, oh, so how does the zombie apocalypse start? A couple, very horny for each other, they knock boots in a cemetery, and then they knock boots against a statue so hard that it breaks, unleashes some kind of demonic curse and raises the dead from its graves, and then that just snowballs into world of madness. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil I'm not gonna spoil it, but oh my gosh, it was funny and dark at the same time. I love dark comedy, and this episode did it for me. But it was just like watching Robot Chicken. And of course there was gore too, so that's always fun. And the last episode that was my favorite from volume 3 is called Jibaro. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Is it Hibaro? Jibaro? I don't know. It's called, this is the title of the episode. So there are these knights, right? They're on a quest, and one of them's deaf. I think he's like the commander or something, or he's important. But listen, this animation is so good and so realistic. Some of these episodes look like it's real humans, and him, at first, I was like, he kind of cute, cause like it looks so real. It's like uncanny valley. It's like, so you can tell that it's not real because there's something about it, but he looks like a real human being. But anyway, I got sidetracked, I'm sorry. So there are these knights out in the woods or something in the forest. They're on a quest, and they come across this siren, and this is not a regular siren. This siren is made, like, her body is composed and composited of treasure, and like, you know, so she offs them all with her siren sound, because, you know, it hypnotizes them to off each other, but not the deaf knight, because he can't hear her song. So she ended up respecting him a little bit, like, oh, he can resist my song, let me go see what it's about. So they end up falling in love for a bit, and then it goes to shit. That's all I'm gonna say. And as quickly as I fell in love with the knight, I fell out of love with him because of what he did in this episode. I'm not telling you what he did, y'all, but I'm gonna just say this. Men are the worst. But yeah, if you want to find out what happened, go watch it. Like, I'm not about to spoil it for you, especially if you haven't seen it. I'm not doing that. Alright, moving on to volume 2 now. So the first episode in volume 2, like on my favorites list, is called Automated Customer Service. And I gotta say, this art style reminded me of, like, I don't know. I just don't know what it reminded me of. It reminded me of like a really underground, obscure show. Cause look at this. Look at this woman's face. And look at everybody else's head shape. Like, it was just like it wasn't right. But I watched it anyway. So I think this episode is like, you know, the creative outlet of some people's theories that they have about technology, because some people think that technology is going to rise up one day and kill us all, and this episode gave us a glimpse into what that would look like. This woman is literally fighting for her life the entire time because of a Roomba. And you see she has a kitty, okay? I will spoil this. The kitty lives. The kitty does live, okay? And there was this one aspect of this episode that just kept cracking me up. So you know how robots sound like that. How can I assist you today? You know what robots sound like. And like, he still had that tone of voice even when he was about to, like, you know, get rid of her. He was like, oh, it's time to die now. You will be terminated in 3, 2. Like, it was really funny. I was like, I don't know why, but it was making me laugh. I was like, okay. This next one I really loved. I think it was the art style on top of the storyline. And it was just visually beautiful. Like, oh my goodness. So this next episode in volume 2 is called Ice. Now, I don't know what planet they're on. This is one of those science fiction ones in the series, okay? I don't know what planet they're on, but they're on some kind of second Earth or something. I don't know. Like a couple hundred years into the future. And humans, or some humans, are genetically modified. And our 2 main characters are a pair of brothers. One of them is genetically modified, one of them's not. And the one that's not has been facing criticism from people around him and his own father because, you know, he's just ordinary. There's nothing special about him. And that makes him a little insecure because everybody around him is a mod. That's what they call the people who have the changes. Everyone else is a mod, but he's just like this regular old organic human being. Like, he feels like an outcast. And there was this part where the normal one went with the brothers group of friends who are all genetically modified, and they were like, well, can you keep up or what? You know, because he's just normal. And they get into shenanigans. I'm not going to go into detail explaining the entire plot of these episodes, because if you haven't seen it, I really do want y'all to watch it first and just feel that for yourself. Like, this is something really interesting to watch. Like, I really think y'all should watch this. That's why I'm not going into depth. I'm not telling y'all what happened from start to finish, because I really want y'all to watch it for yourselves if you haven't. Oh, this next one. This is one of my favorite episodes, like, out of all of them. Like, oh my, this is like top 5 for show. So this next episode in volume 2 is called Pop Squad. So we're like couple hundred years into the future, you know, because sci-fi. This story's theme, along with morality and humanity, is population control. So there are these cops, but they're not just regular cops. They're population control cops, hence Pop Squad. If you have kids, like if you are caught to be, you know, a mother or a father, they either confiscate your kids or they pew them. Because in this world, in this story, it's illegal to have kids because, you know, population control is very serious to them. So if you having kids, can't let that slide. And then there's also something about like rejuvenation, you know, and some of these people in this story have been alive for like a couple hundred years. So it's just like there's a lot going on in this story. But yeah, population control cops who pew children. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm moving on. This next one was a nice little twist on something we already know and are familiar with. So this next episode is called All Through the House. So you got these 2 siblings, right? A little boy and a little girl. It's Christmas Eve. They hear some in the living room. It's Christmas Eve. Like, oh, Santa's here. I'm gonna go sneak down there and see. It's not quite Santa. So I thought originally when I first saw the episode, I was like, oh, this is Krampus. Like, because this is like a menacing being. This is not Santa. It's not Krampus, y'all. It's like this demon thing. I don't know. It's like anti-Santa, kind of. Like, I don't know. Morally gray Santa. Because this Santa has like a little snout and it sniffs the kids, right? And if it can sniff if you've been bad or good. So if you were bad, I think you would have been like taken care of, you know? But luckily, both of the kids were good. And at the end of it, they were like, what would have happened if we were bad? Because, oh, I forgot this one part. So this is like anti-Santa, right? Like morally gray Santa. So Santa always has the gifts on deck. Usually he has a sack or something like that. You know what this motherfucker had? He just regurgitates the gifts from his digestive tract and just gives it to the kids. Like, here you go, covered in saliva and other bodily fluids too. Love anti-Santa. That was one of my favorite ones because it put a twist on something that's usually, you know, wholesome and fun and light. Not this. Oh my god. Okay. This next one, this is the last favorite episode of mine in volume 2. It's called The Drowned Giant. Now this series is not afraid to show blood, guts, gore, or nudity. Like, I'm not talking like, you know, that movie theater rated R, regular rated R nudity. I'm talking like nudity. Nudity, bootity nudity. Like, you see everything. You see all the genitalia. You see all the areolas. Like, Love, Death, and Robots, they ain't scared. So, The Drowned Giant, it's about this group of scientists who get a call about like some phenomenon. They pull up to this beach, and there is a giant young man on the beach, and he's unalive. Like, he ain't living no more. But he's just washed up on the beach, and all these people are like, what is this? And he's human. He's just giant. Like, he's a giant. Like, people are walking all over him, exploring his body. And I think I like this one the most because, you know, I sympathize with that dead giant young man because people were treating him as if he was like some kind of spectacle or like some kind of carnival like sideshow. But like, I'm like, this poor giant, like, how did he end up here? How did he drown? How did, like, what happened? And then on top of that, not on top of being dead, he just butt naked. He couldn't die with no clothes on. I felt bad. I was like, oh my god. And you got people walking all over him with their dirty feet, taking pictures, and then eventually they start drawing graffiti on him because he started, girl, it's a whole lot. But I think I like this one because I sympathize with that poor giant. I was like, damn, what a way to like just, you know, after you're gone, like people just really show their true colors and how sensitive they are. But I know that got really serious really fast, but I like this one because it was a good story. Y'all should watch The Drowned Giant. Be warned, there is a flaccid pee-pee in it. So, alright, getting into volume 1. Here we go. So the first episode is back to the 3 robots, but this one is just called 3 Robots. So this is showing them like first getting to Earth. That episode in volume 3, that was like a continuation. And those are the only 2 episodes that are connected to each other. All the other episodes and stories, there's no connection whatsoever. But these 2 are the like only ones that have a connection. This is just showing them when they first got to Earth for their little tourist attraction trip, for their little field trip. And same sentiments I had for the first episode about them. They were just so hilarious in the way that they were talking about humans. Oh, also, volume 1 is twice as long as volumes 2 and 3. I think volume 1 has 18 episodes and then volumes 2 and 3 have 9. This won an Emmy? This won an Emmy? No wonder. Like, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, oh my gosh. Like, wow. This won an Emmy. Oh, side note. So in one of the episodes, Michael B. Jordan is in one. I know Michael B. Jordan. But like, it's that video game type of animation. And I was like, telling my boyfriend, we were watching this episode together with Michael B. Jordan, and I was like, that's Michael B. Jordan. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I thought this was supposed to be animation only. And he was like, it is. I was like, babe, that looks too real. And it took me until like the last 2 minutes of the episode to finally realize that, okay, this is animated, because I noticed how Michael B. Jordan was moving and it wasn't like a human being. It was like he was engineered. So this next one is called Beyond the Aquila Rift. And this one, I don't, listen. This one really messed me up because, and this is not the only reason I like it, but there was a scene in it, like it was a spicy scene in it, and I was like, and it was your standard spicy scene, but like you saw things. And I was, oh my god. Also, this explored the scary reality of simulations. That was a juxtaposition. Reality and simulation. I love myself. This whole like episode about space travel and romance and simulation technology blew my mind. Like I was actually, my mind was blown by the end of this episode. But I'm not gonna say no more. Just if you go to watch Beyond the Aquila Rift, be prepared for that scene. Cause I've never seen no cartoon. I ain't never seen no cartoons get down like that. I ain't never seen no video game characters get down like that. Ooh, this next one, I love it so much. Okay, this next one is called Sunny's Edge. So there's like this girl, right? And she is a fighter of some type, like not no regular boxer or MMA fighter. She has like a neurological link to this beast, or like some kind of alien beast or whatever, and that's how people fight nowadays. Like it's not no underground fight club stuff. Like your beast fights another person's beast, but y'all are linked in like literally like through the brain. It's hard to explain. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But she fights. Her main reason for fighting is because she was done dirty by some men, because men ruin everything. She was done dirty by some men, so she only fights men in these matches. And so she has never lost a fight. She won 19 of them, and she said the satisfaction that she gets from beating them and sometimes unaliving them is it's giving her more motivation to keep fighting and also fight for the girls who went through the same thing that she did. And I was like, feminism, come on, revenge, I was so satisfied with this one. This next one on the list, it's so dumb, but by the end of it, I was like, I had an epiphany. So this next episode in volume 1 is called When the Yogurt Took Over. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The yogurt becomes, you know, the supreme of all humanity. And it's dumb. It's so like silly. But long story short, I will spoil this one, I guess. The yogurt ends up like deserting all the inhabitants of Earth, and basically I was like, wow, this dumb cartoon actually made me stop and think, like, we need to get our together. Oh my god. The minute something like goes awry and we have no authority, we're just running around like chickens with our head cut off. Stupid. Oh my gosh, it keeps coming on. Stupid, goofy, but at the end of it I was like, that's damn. Ooh, this next one, oh my gosh. So this next episode is called The Witness, right? So main character is this dancer, exotic dancer. She's getting ready for her day or whatever, and she hears a gunshot go off. Dun dun dun. And she looks across the way in the other apartment and she sees this guy covered in blood. So of course she's freaking out and she's trying to get to the authorities as fast as she can. She's calling everybody that she knows for help. And this guy is freaking out because he saw him see her see him, and he was like, okay, I gotta get this under wraps. So it's like this race against time, right? And this guy is like hot on this girl's trails because he's trying to keep her from going to the authorities, and then she's trying to get away from this guy because, you know, she was a witness to a murder and he's chasing her, so she's not having a time. But the twist at the end of this one, y'all, the twist at the end of it, I was literally in my bed screaming. I was like, I'm not gonna scream right now, but oh my god, believe me, I was I was thrown all the way to the left. So this next one is called Good Hunting, and this is the story of a hunter's son and nine-tailed fox spirit. I'm not sure how to pronounce like the term for the creature, so I'm going to put it right here. I don't want to butcher it, but it's also referred to as a nine-tailed fox spirit. Instead of, you know, hunting this nine-tailed fox spirit like his father wanted him to, the boy actually befriends the creature and they end up growing up together. Now this story is a tale of like self-discovery, self-rediscovery, revenge, like trauma, societal pressure, all that stuff. And of course, trigger warning, it's about men too. And trigger warning, it's about men f***ing shit up, because they always f*** shit up. So greed and power, and then just that visceral need for revenge. I'm not gonna spoil this one, but this one really satisfied me. At the end of it, I was like, yes, that's great. I love that. We got a happy ending for this one, so I was like, yay! This next one is called Alternate Histories. And so the episodes open up with you like opening an app or on some kind of program, and it's showing you what would happen if something in history, like a big event in history, had been slightly changed a little bit. So we focus on this guy right here, which I don't know why they chose him as the subject, but it takes you through 8 different scenarios of him dying too early and what happens when that, you know, when he died too early. It was a lot. Like this, as the episode went on, each scenario got more and more outlandish. There were asteroids involved, aliens, prostitutes. It was crazy. It was a lot going on. This one was really funny. It was so unserious, but why him? Why could we not have chosen someone else? Like, I guess that was like the shock factor for this one. I don't know, whatever. But Alternate Histories was a funny one. Like, I really like, I enjoyed that one a lot. Ooh, okay. So this is like the last episode in the series, or the first, depending on how you watch it and what order. But this one is called Zima Blue. Now, this one had me feeling philosophical by the end of it. Had me deep in thought. I was pondering. So it's about this reporter who is about to go interview this very famous artist. Like, he's the best artist in the cosmos, okay? And she's been trying to get an interview with him for years, and she finally has that chance. He invited her out to his house, and they're about to have an interview. So when she gets there, she gets his whole life story, right? And that's what the twist is for this episode. And I was like, oh. And so she was like, why after all this time, why are you telling me this now? And he's like, I need you to help me tell my story. And I was like, oh. But yeah, the messages of, like, you know, what happiness truly is, and the simplicity of living life rather than living it for others, it had to grow. Like, I was on my philosophical couch. I was just thinking. Like, I was deep in thought after this one. And also, I got to say, like, the name of this episode, like, he is so famous. Like, the name of the episode has so many meanings running through it. He is, one of them being, he is so famous that he has a shade of blue named after him. But the reason why it's called that shade of blue, it's called Zima Blue, it was so, like, I don't know what word, I'm at a loss for words. Like, it was just so, like, the meaning behind it was too deep. It was deep on another level, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, that is my list of all of my favorite episodes from Blood, Death, and Robots. I love the other ones too, but these are like my favorite ones out of the show. And if you like dark humor, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, this is it for you. And also, if you like animated stuff, this is a good show for you to watch. Please try to get into it. At least watch like the first 2 episodes. It's a really good show. I like it. This is now one of my favorites. Whoever made this show, whoever created it, big ups to you. Big ups to you. I'm giving you your flowers. You did amazing. So that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And if you made it to the end of this episode, comment a robot. Please. And I also have to say, I have a little surprise for y'all coming on the channel. Look, just a little tiny one. It's like this big, okay, but it's still a surprise nonetheless. Stay tuned to find out what it is, and subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go round. Okay, bye.